Hi guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really don't believe that I get to say those words again. I really did not think that I was going to be able to come back to YouTube this year. But as God will have it, I'm here. I'm excited to be here and I can't wait to meet my new subscribers, to my OGs, my returning subscribers. You're welcome. Thank you so much for sticking with me, for staying, for waiting patiently for another video. I know it's been ages since my last video. My last video was actually in, I think that was June or so, but I believe that I'm here to stay, and I look forward to growing together, becoming together, and all the beautiful conversations we're going to be having to help each other grow in the things that matter most to us and to God as well. Thank you so much again. Let's get right into today's video. So today I'm talking about something that we've discussed before, lessons I'm learning in my 30s, and this is supposed to be part 2. If you've not watched the part 1 of the video, I'm going to link it somewhere above and you can go right ahead and watch it and then come back to this video when you're done with that one, because I shared a lot of valuable lessons in that video. I'm going to be sharing other valuable lessons as well in this video, and I look forward to also learning from you. What are the lessons you're learning in your life currently, and in what ways would you say these lessons are shaping you or shaping your view, your realities, and your experiences? Let's get right into it. The first lesson I'm learning is that growth lies in the hard situations that we avoid. And the truth I've learned is that there are so many opportunities that I have tried to avoid, that I've tried to talk myself out of, because somehow I sort of saw them as opportunities that were going to take a lot from me. But stepping into some of these opportunities have taught me that those challenges only grow you. They only make you better. They only help you improve your life, improve your experiences, and even improve your perspectives about life generally. I'm currently in one of those seasons where I stepped into an opportunity that I didn't think I was ready for. I mean, my life is already full as it is, but I just told myself and God that I think I'm ready for another stretch season, and this is an invitation for a stretch. And so stepping into that opportunity, I realized that there are a lot of challenges, and it's looking like my whole life has to be altered in order to fit this new challenge into my daily plan or my daily life. But I'm seeing just how much growth that this hard or seemingly hard situation promises. And most times that's how life is. There are certain seasons we step into, and it might not even just be opportunities. It might just be experiences that we have that seem negative, and it looks like maybe you're being called to a certain level of stretch. I'm telling you that the biggest or the highest level of growth that you ever experience are in those seasons of your life where it looks like life is taking its toll, where it looks like there is a lot of strength being pulled out of you. And one of the things that get me going in seasons like this is the scripture that says his strength is made perfect in weakness. And the truth is that if you do not get to that point of owning up to the weakness that you have as a human being, right, or getting to understand that in yourself you are weak, you're not strong, the strength of God will not be seen in your life. And so when you go through those seasons, remember that your highest level of growth is in the hard seasons. And when you embrace those hard seasons, growth becomes a lot easier. The second lesson I'm learning in this season is that it is not one grand decision you make at some point in your life that changes everything. It is the decisions that you make daily that actually change your life. And the beautiful thing about life is that you have the opportunity, or you have opportunities to get to a higher level of growth daily, not just yearly, not just every time you're trying to set a goal, but daily. Every day you're presented with opportunities that would demand a certain level of commitment from you, a certain level of discipline from you. And you can either choose to say no to those experiences or say yes to them and see yourself at a certain level in life that is higher than you ever imagined 1 year down the line, or 6 months down the line, or even 5 years down the line. And this is something that I'm learning, and I have learned, I've stepped into experiences or opportunities where I did not think that I was capable to carry the demands of those opportunities. And somehow, in the course of going through those seasons, I found a certain level of expertise, intelligence that I did not even know I had. As much as there's a place for supernatural help, which I so much believe in, there is also the place of understanding that every day is an opportunity to grow. And when you say yes to grow daily, it's easier for you to step into bigger opportunities later on in life that you do not even think you're prepared for. But then these opportunities will actually meet you prepared because you took out the time to do the work daily. I like to give the analogy of a bucket under a tap that is not flowing properly. So the tap is just dropping bit by bit. But you find out that if you come back the next morning, maybe you go to bed, you come back the next morning, you find out that this bucket is already full and maybe even overflowing. When you went to bed, it didn't look like much. I mean, if you were going to stand there and wait till the water got to half of the bucket, it would have been hard because it would be like you're standing there for an eternity. But you went to bed, you woke up and you find out that the bucket was full. That's how life is. You can say yes to those little drops daily and find out that in 5 years, you become the woman for the job or the man for the job. Or you can sit down somewhere and say that those little drops don't exactly matter. And somewhere down the line, there will be a demand placed on that growth that you were supposed to go through, that you refused to go through. And then you find out that you are empty. Another lesson I'm learning is this: no matter how similar the path of you and some other person in your life may look, the truth is that we are all called to different journeys. So God can give you a vision that seems similar to somebody else's vision, but it doesn't change the fact that ultimately everybody is going to go through different journeys. And so what I don't understand most times rather is when someone tries to compare themselves with somebody else or tries to see their lives playing out exactly the same way someone else's life played out. I need you to understand that you are called to something different. We are all called uniquely. We all have gifts that may seem similar, but God is going to help us use and maximize those gifts in different ways. And so it is not sensible, it is not a sensible thing to actually begin to compare yourself with somebody else when God is calling you to something entirely different. And if you come to this point of understanding and you know that identity actually really plays into this conversation, because if you're in that place where you understand that, I know that I am called as a son of Christ. God has called me uniquely as Anne. Nobody can be like Anne, no matter how hard they try. And in the same way, I can't be like someone else, no matter how hard I try. But the call is not for us to be like somebody else. The call is for us to daily look at the picture that God is showing us of who we are supposed to be and do the work that is required to align ourselves with that vision that God has shown us. And so the race is not for you to compare yourself to someone else. The race is actually in you aligning with what God has already shown you about yourself and then ultimately becoming that person that God sees you to be. If you come to that place of truly understanding that the life that you are living is unique to you, as much as you have experiences around you that God will use to teach you, as much as you have people around you whose example God will use to teach you, there is nobody that God is calling you to be like 100%, right? And so this is something that if you come to the revelation of, it will be easy for you to get rid of comparison in your life, because God is not calling us to a life where we are constantly comparing ourselves to others. He's calling us to a unique walk with Him. And I need you to say yes to that work today. This is something that I'm learning even more in this season. I'm seeing why certain things had to happen in the way that they happened. I'm seeing why I had to take longer routes in certain areas of my life because of what God had called me to. So when you see that maybe something is working out for somebody in a particular area and you're saying, oh, it's not working out for me and I don't know why, God is trying to show you that your longer route is for a purpose. Your longer route is for a reason. And if you sit with Him long enough, you'll be able to find out why He has taken you through that route that He has taken you through. You know, there are certain situations we get into and it's almost like the Holy Spirit is nudging us and is giving us signs that this situation is not right. or this friendship is not right, or this relationship is not right. And we are telling ourselves that, oh, maybe it's just my mind, or maybe it's just me feeling that way. But then what you fail to understand is that you've been feeling this way for as long as, maybe if it's a relationship, as long as this relationship has lasted, or as long as you've been in this situation. Rather than probe, you are trying to push the feeling to the back because you're not sure that you want to act on it. But in those seasons where you're feeling consistent nudges that something is off about a situation, an experience, an opportunity, or a person, I need you to go back to God and ask him questions. God, why am I feeling this way about this person? Why am I feeling off about the situation? Why am I feeling off about this opportunity? And many times, in fact, every time, the Lord will tell you, this is why you feel this way. Or maybe he needs you to back out. Or maybe he needs you to show up in a way that you're not currently showing up. There's just something about it. And I need you to understand this. But I want to even talk about it in the area of nudges when the situation is not right. I realized that many of the mistakes I've made in relationships and friendships came as a result of my refusal to listen to those nudges or react to those nudges. And I've been in seasons or situations where God is saying, this person is not right for you. And you're going to learn why if you stay in this relationship or this friendship. And I go ahead and I stay there. And at the end of the day, I end up regretting it. And so I'm in that season where I've said to myself that if I feel even the slightest nudge, I will go back and I will ask God why I'm feeling this way and have him address it or have him tell me. Because that's the only way that God can save you, right? These nudges are not to make us uncomfortable. They are God's way of trying to save us. And if we get to that point where we say yes to the nudge, and when we probe, when we ask questions, we find out that we are able to avoid a lot of the issues that we are experiencing, or avoid a lot of issues that we should have experienced. This is one of my favorite points ever, one of my favorite lessons. And it says, if you keep your trust in God and you do all it takes to work to be in alignment with God, you will live in your answered prayers, no matter how long it takes. This excites me so much because I remember, just as a vivid example, when I was living in Port Harcourt, before I moved down to join my husband where he lives, I was working in an oil and gas company. And I remember everybody feeling like, oh, I've made it in life. I had hammered, I had blown and all that. Because obviously when you hear oil and gas, you're like, that's such a great opportunity, right? But I wasn't earning well in that company. And at several points, my salary was not even able to take me to the end of the month. And so I would usually find myself struggling to even pay my transport to work if my mom did not help out, or if I didn't have anybody else to like sort of chip in, right? And I was getting uncomfortable with it. There was this particular cream I used to use then that was 6,000 naira. And I remember that if that cream should finish, it would be difficult for me to even buy another one, like replace it. And so sometimes I will have to maybe save for the cream before, because the girl still had to look good, obviously, right? And so I had to save for the cream before I was ready to buy it, so that I would have the money to buy it. And then I was thinking about it maybe like some weeks ago. And I was having this conversation with my husband, and I was saying, you remember when I used to struggle to buy this 6,000 naira cream? Now I'm using a different one, obviously, that's probably like maybe 4 times the amount. And I'm saying the ease that I used to buy it is just funny. And it's not just the cream. It's not just that. That's just an example, obviously. But then I realized that you can be in a season where it looks like nothing is happening, nothing is working. For the longest time, I felt that way about my career, that I wasn't doing well enough and I was uncomfortable. I would pray, I was tired. There are times I cried because of opportunities that I did not get. There were times that I was so frustrated. I remember that at certain times I'll wake up in the morning, because I used to sleep on the same bed with my mom. It was a one-room apartment we were living in at the time, and I wake up some mornings and I would just hiss like a sigh. Why am I going to this place again? Why am I reporting to this place where I know that I'm not even getting any value as much? And I remember she would encourage me and say, you know what, this thing is not going to last forever. Why not make the best of it now? And then I know that at some point God is going to do a miracle and you're going to see things happen for you differently. And in that season, I didn't really believe it, but Looking at the experiences of my life right now, especially in that area of my life, I'm seeing just how much God can change one's story, how much God can change one's life. And this is just an encouragement to you as well. No matter where you are in life, I'm telling you this for a fact. God changes stories because he's the one that writes the best stories, obviously. And so if you are in that place where it looks like things are not working out, I'm telling you, once you put your complete trust in God and you do all it takes to be in alignment, by being in alignment, I mean you're putting in the work as well. Because when we trust God, many people think it's just about praying and trusting and believing, but there is a part that involves working for what you actually are believing for. When you do all this, I'm telling you, it's just a matter of time. God will change your story and it's going to blow your mind. The next lesson I'm learning is this: no one should have the power to change you. The only person that has the power to change you is Jesus Christ. And I'm sure you already did that. And the reason why I'm saying this, I'm sharing this, is for this reason. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine some time ago. She was having a challenge with a particular relationship that she was in. And she was saying that, and I was seeing rather, noticing that she had begun to change from the person that I knew her to be. So she was taking decisions that I know for a fact that this, my friend, would not take on a normal day. And I started to realize that this person that I was experiencing in my friend was different because of the relationship that she was in. So because of the kind of actions that the person she was with was carrying out, she felt a certain level of reaction was what was expected of her. But the thing about this is, you go on that journey, right? You are reacting based on someone else's actions. So you're allowing them dictate what you do and do not do. With time, you find out that you become that person that person requires of you. So you are now changing to match the action of this person. And no one should have that much power over you, no matter what they do. It even goes to the area of trauma, right? Yes. And this is why healing is important. When you maybe went through an abusive relationship, and because of that abuse, you became somebody else. You started telling yourself, oh, I will never be put in that situation with a man again. I will never be put in that situation with a woman again. And so you begin to act like an abused person. You begin to take on that label of abuse. And you do not realize that this person's abuse is changing you. This person's action has changed you completely. And I know that it is not too late. Do not give people the power to change you. The only person that has the power to change you is God, Jesus Christ. And he already did that through his sacrifice on the cross. So I'm just here to tell you today that no matter what people do, you can choose how you react. You can choose how you act. They don't have to define your actions with their own actions. You can define your own actions based on what God has said about you and based on what you believe about yourself. The next one I want to talk about is, this one is a bit unpopular, but I'll say it. Marrying for love is still beautiful. You know, we are in a world where it's like everybody wants to marry for money. And to be honest, I understand it because I get that comfort is beautiful. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to stress out about money. I don't want to stress out about my needs. But where I have a problem is where you feel that your ticket to financial freedom is in the hands of a man or in the hands of a spouse. The truth is that we do not understand that the Bible says God has given us power to make wealth. And when he says he has given us power to make wealth, he's not saying that from the perspective of gender, that he only gave some people power to make wealth and other people will not be benefactors of those ones he has given the power. No, he has given every one of us the power to make wealth. And so if you have this understanding, you will not want to jump into a man's house or a woman's house, because I know men also do it, because of the financial freedom that they give you or they offer you. Because you understand that God is able to use your hands to produce wealth and abundance for your generation, not just even for you. And so marrying for love is still beautiful. Marrying for love is still very glamorous. I'm there and I'm loving it. And it's something I'm learning. I'm seeing just how much having a partner that supports me, having a partner that loves me is doing for my life and my peace of mind. And I'd rather be there than somewhere else. So yes, marrying for love is beautiful and I'm glad I did. The last one I'm going to talk about is a bit sensitive, but I believe that this is important for every one of us, including myself. The lesson is this: understand when the mess is still too messy to become a message. Heal first. There are many times where we have heard people say, you were given this mess because you have a message for the world, or you can turn your mess into a message. And this is very, very, very valid, because personally, obviously, I've been there a number of times. And I know that many of the issues or the challenges I had in my own life have become learning points for other people. But what I would say is there is also times and seasons. The Bible says to everything, there is a time. For everything, there's a time and there's a season. And so when it comes to your experiences, when it comes to the challenges that you've experienced, you have to know when it's time for other people to glean from the knowledge that that experience has given you. And when you know that the time is right is when you understand fully, or when you have gained revelation from the knowledge of that experience to be able to pass it to others without the blurred vision of the trauma of the experience or the pain of the experience. So you're now in that place where the experience no longer translates to pain for you, but only translates to purpose and knowledge, wisdom for others. So when it comes to your mess, please go through that journey of healing and be sure that you have gotten to the other side, and you're now able to see from a clearer perspective, because that's the only way you'll be able to lead other people on that journey as well. So that we stop this thing where we go online every single day and we're seeing someone with a new podcast mic telling us about how men are scum, or telling us about how women only want money, when these narratives are not exactly true, but people are just speaking out of their own fear, out of their own experience, out of their own trauma, unhealed trauma, right? So understand when the mess is not ready to become a message, because many times it isn't ready, and God is still taking you through that journey. And if you don't go through that journey with Him, you're not going to be able to make the best of that situation in a way that other people can enjoy from your knowledge. Thank you so much. I don't even know how many points I made. I think like maybe 9 or 10. But thank you for sticking with me. I look forward to beautiful conversations like this. I'd also want to hear from you. What kind of topics would you want me to cover on the channel? I want to hear from you as well. Let's have fun together. Let's discuss. Let's learn. Let's glean from each other's wisdoms, and let's become together. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a beautiful and lovely week ahead. Bye for now.